We're good.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining us on tonight's Jaggernaut podcast. It's me, Michael, yay, Duval, and my brother Franklin.
What's up,
Introduce
guys?
yourself. Man, no Duval, no move those chains, move those chains.
Duval!
There we go. I mean, we should probably start and end it that way, just to say. All right, so first topic up to tonight, up for tonight is Tim Tebow.
Do we have to?
Obviously, no, I really don't want to. I'm kind of tired of hearing about it, but I guess we should throw it out there. It is the white elephant in the room. We'll discuss it. I know we have different views on it, which is good. So, Franklin, without further ado,
Oh, I get to start.
yes.
You want to set me up to knock it out of the park, huh?
Well, I want to before I come in with my negativity on the subject. I want you to throw out, your rhyme and reason as to why it doesn't bother you like it bothers me.
Yeah, I'll just simply say this. It We have no tight ends on the roster, and I hate the I hate the circus that surrounds Tebow, and I hate the idea that you have to acquiesce to other people's demands to either sign or not sign a player based on anything other than what you think they can bring to your football team. We can discuss whether or not we think he'll pass or fail on even making the team, let alone whether, because that is an argument to be had. Um, to, but the point is that, the part of me is almost just frustrated that people say that Urban can't do this or shouldn't do this, I should say. The thing is that honestly, if it was not Tim Tebow, let's just say that Luke Farrell was a guy that he coached, and instead of him being a rookie that he drafted, he had been in the league, couldn't make it in the league. And let's just say, for sake of argument, he was playing wide receiver. And Meyer was going to bring him on after years being out just because he did a little tryout. He looks to be in shape, and they want to put him on the 90-man roster to see if he can make the squad. Nobody would even know it was happening. The fact that it's Tim Tebow is the issue. And so, to me, when people say, 33 years old, out of football, all that stuff is fair game to discuss and fair to reason that those are reasons that he won't be a contributor to the offense in any, uh, you know, tangible or decent way. But it isn't enough to go, how dare he even think about signing him? So that's it. I'm not even promoting that he should be on the roster. I'm saying that when you're the coach, you have that right. And it doesn't matter what anybody else thinks. And that's basically my stance on it at this point.
All right. Yeah. See, so well, I understand your point of view, and that you're you're the coach, it's your team, it's your roster, and you can basically fill it how you want to. So I get that. Um, but if he filled it with Canadian football players, or less than what everybody in the league thought were football players, and they prove him right, he's going to look stupid. For me personally, again, I don't really necessarily care about Tebow the person, right? I agree with you. I don't at all like the media circus and all of the garbage that's coming with it. I don't see exactly why he's that magnet. Um, I never really even understood it before. It should be, can he play? Can't he play? I never thought he could play in the NFL coming out of college. Outside of the what, the 4 or 5 games he played for Denver, he proved me right. Okay, cool. Now we fast forward basically 10 years or 9 years. Now he wants to come back. He's 33 years old. It's a position switch. To me, from a personnel standpoint, my opinion is that I think this is a bad move to do. For me personally, that's what I think. I think not only is it a bad move because I don't think he will have the skills to pay the bills. I think you bring in that circus, right? So if you thought beyond a shadow of a doubt that the guy can ball and can play and can add value to your team, then it's okay sort of dealing with that circus. It's not necessarily a negative circus that sort of hurts your team. So I think that's okay. Some of the things I've heard is that his physical shape is phenomenal and that he's a leader in the locker room. Well, I think for everybody he leads in that locker room, there are going to be some players who are turned off by that. Once you start to do that, I think it's going to divide the locker room. I think this has a chance to be, well, you're the coach's kid. That's why you're on the team. Does that make sense? I think it has a chance to do that. Now, if he gets signed, comes into camps and kills it. All right, cool. Congratulations. Woo, let's rock. Let's get ready for the preseason. Kills it in preseason. All right, let's get ready for the regular season. No harm, no foul. That's the way I see it. But if he sucks, if he can't beat out James O'Shaughnessy, right, for the number 1 tight end spot, I personally we cut him. We cut bait and we say, okay, look, we got blocking tight ends. We have a project tight end. We have our number 1 tight end. What role does Tim Tebow feel outside of being a good guy in the locker room that James O'Shaughnessy, what's the other guy? Hamsworth, Manhurts. The guy we just drafted out of Ohio State. Like, what role would he feel? Yeah. I know that Urban Meyer's come out and said, well, we have 5 tight ends. Hey, Herbs, how about we get 3 or 4 tight ends and we bring in some guards, somebody who could actually maybe fight for a roster spot, even if it's on the lower end, but another position that we need. So that's my question to you. If Tim Tebow makes the team but does not beat out James O'Shaughnessy clearly, what else is he providing to us that these other 3 guys are not currently providing?
Well, I can't quite answer that question because it's, the idea that I know what role Urban has in mind. I'm at this point, I'm beginning to question Urban, and I've questioned him from the start. I mean, I'm going with it because I'm a Jaguar fan and I have to. I don't know what he would do. I don't understand. Well, I say we I saw the head roll there. Yeah. So we're just
no.
I'm saying there's not. Maybe I should say it this way. There's nothing I can do about it. Nobody's asking me my opinion. And I still want them to succeed. So regardless of so here's the deal. I would just say that I don't know what role the 3rd string, 4th string, 5th string tight end plays other than special teams anyway does. So the idea that it couldn't be Tebow, I don't quite understand that, other than to say that maybe you go, because you're saying the value is low because of where he ranks on the tight end roster, that negativity that he brings will override and outweigh the positive. And maybe that's what you're saying. And that's
Yeah.
why
So
Tebow can't be the third or fourth tight end on the roster.
yeah. So basically, what I'm saying is, for every role that you would typically have a tight end for, your blocking tight end, your pass catching tight end, your move tight end, and then like a developmental tight end. But we already have people on our roster currently under contract that fill those roles, right? Now, Manhurst will probably play some special teams. And yes, Tim Tebow, if he comes in and he's the fourth tight end, will most likely have to play special teams, and that will be his role. Well, has he ever played special teams? Maybe outside of Pop Warner. I mean,
No,
I don't think you're
I heard he played with the Jets. At least
okay. Well, at least there's
I
some
heard
tape on it.
I heard he was good or decent in special teams. You know, you hear a little bit here and there. I heard he was horrible. I heard the Jets actually tried to. I heard he was good at special teams. I heard he was horrible at tight end, and the Jets actually did try him at tight end. I
Yeah, I
can't
read that. I
remember.
read the same. I read an article about that from some quarterback who was there.
Yeah, I
And
forget the name of the quarterback. I think it's the former Crimson Tide quarterback.
I don't know who it was, but he damn sure didn't make it in the NFL either.
No, but yeah, I as far as football goes, I mean, I can't sit here and pretend to understand what the lower roster guys bring to a team, and it could be said that maybe it causes an issue, but my gosh, man, if all it takes is for the media just to point the finger at one of your guys, and then you go, well, now here you are, a distraction. We have to move on from you. You know, to me, there's part of me that wonders because a lot of times I think the story is set by people outside the locker room. In this case, I think 100% it is. I know you hear that, oh, sources say coaches are split and all this other stuff. They're always going to say that. It's always these unnamed sources that say these negative things. I wonder, is it possible? Because we see this too, and I don't know why this couldn't be the case. Is it possible that it galvanizes the locker room to an us against them mentality? I mean, if the whole nation's going to come down and dictate to you who your coach is supposed to, I mean, what happens if it turns towards you? What if you become the guy where the media says, you can't have that guy? There's another guy on the street that deserves that roster spot. How dare you sign that guy? And to me, it's like I've never heard of this before. This is another problem I've got where the media gets to dictate to the coach because there's somebody else on the street. Who are they talking about? Like, I listen to people go, oh, and this is like something, I think it was Keyshawn Johnson I was listening to today. And he's like, well, there's hundreds of people on the street. Well, name somebody, and then there's a reason why he's being brought onto the team. Now, I can't exactly say what it is, but it's none of your business. It really doesn't matter. And I can say, I don't like it, or I disagree with it, or I agree with it, or whatever. But the truth is I have no clue what Urban Meyer's thinking, and nobody else does either. And it's really none of their business. And the fact that, like, when you hear somebody like Chris Sims say this is an example of white privilege, at that point, I'm going to side with Urban Meyer because Chris Sims is an example of white privilege. And he's calling Tebow, like, Chris Sims would never have the job that he has if his daddy wasn't a quarterback. This guy's got a horrible voice. He's got terrible takes. And I mean, we just got off the draft where he told everybody that his bestie was going to draft Mac Jones. And he didn't know that. Either that, or he complicitly lied to try to provide cover because they didn't want it to leak out who they were really interested in. And Chris Sims did that duty. Yet this is a guy the media trots out there as if it's some person we're supposed to consider and take his opinion. Booger McFarland, people like this, Shannon Sharp, dopes, idiots. I don't like anything they say. I don't like anything they stand for. And yet these are the guys that are lining up against Tebow. So, and maybe I'm looking at it the wrong way because I'm kind of, you know, character assassinating these people and then lining myself up against them. But I don't care at this point because they're the ones that are making this such a big story. They're taking Tebow and they're doing what the media does with everything. And I don't know why. And I guess this is more of a bigger, and I don't want to dive into this, but
Yeah. Let's try to stay away from some of that stuff.
well, I just want to say this, that it can't the sports be the sports. I mean, they're doing with Tebow what we see on CNN and MSNBC. They're trying to divide us. It's unnecessary. It's a non-story. It's a guy who probably won't make the team. Who cares? The reason he's getting the job.
But they do that. Okay, but they do that. They do that for their viewership. Honestly, I think sometimes some of the stuff that these people say, honestly, I don't think that they can naturally believe. But they say it anyway, almost as if it's scripted. All right, you play good cop, I play bad cop. All right, bad cop, here's sort of what you got to say. Good cop.
I think the idiots I just named believe what they say, which is why they shouldn't be on there. So why do they get to have a job at ESPN or wherever and then they get to dictate who else gets to hire other people? Like, shut your mouth. Nobody cares.
Well, for at least two of them, it's because they played pretty well in the NFL. They did very well. So they think that they have some kind of foresight into the way the NFL works. And they do to a certain extent, you know, but in 5 years, 6 years, 10 years, they're not going to have that. They may have some connections where they can get their buddy to get a coach on the line or something like that, you know, to have an interview. But they're not in the locker room, so they don't know. They're not in the coaches' meeting, so they don't really know.
Yeah.
And all it really is basically using him to drive up their ratings. So in a weird sense, isn't that white privilege?
Right. Everybody's got some kind of angle, some kind of something. And it's like, you know, just once you start hearing that sort of nonsense where Kaepernick gets brought up and all this stuff, you know that it isn't about football at that point. And that's the problem that I have with it, is we're supposed to assume that Urban is making a bad football decision, and he may well be, because people who are clearly not basing their opinion on football are saying so. That's the issue that I have with it, majoritively speaking. And so we'll see what happens. He hasn't even been signed, and that makes me wonder. I'll tell you what, if he doesn't sign, I'll be almost more upset about it, not because it's Tebow, but because of the fact that once again he's acquiescent to. This will be twice now where he's being dictated to on who he can hire, because we hired that one guy.
Hey, but the first time,
well, other people.
I'm not sure. My problem is like, okay, so you like the dude, right? You like his work, and you went out and said, well, we've done our homework on this guy. But then there's a bunch of articles come out that say that he used racial slurs, he used harassment, he used different tools that unfortunately probably are there in college sports and to motivate a young man. But if you come in and you spout off to a 33-year-old, probably some of the stuff that he says, they're gonna jack his shit up. At least that's what I would expect, coach or no coach. So I'm not sure exactly that. I was okay with him walking away once I read some articles and some history. I didn't have an issue with it. I don't like the fact that Urban, but okay, so just in this conversation, has Urban backed himself into one side or the other already? And all he simply did was try somebody out.
Yeah. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Your
Okay.
camera went off, but I can
Yeah, I
hear
don't
you.
know what's going on with my camera. Um, no, he's
So you don't think he's backed himself into a corner where that he's going to have this backlash on one side, and then
yeah,
if he doesn't, well, he's yielding to the national media who doesn't run an NFL team.
well, yeah, and this is the issue that I've got now. He has backed himself into a corner. There's no question about that. So, what do you do about it now? That's the problem that you've got, and that's, I think, what we're dealing with now is the fact that the milk has been spilled at this point. Now, if he doesn't hire Tebow, is he cleaning it up, or is it almost like more spilled milk? In my opinion, it's sort of more like spilled milk.
Yeah, I mean, at this point, just bring him in, sign him to a 1 year contract or a contract for training camp, make him a training camp body, and let him earn his right. Because here's the truth of a locker room. He could have this chance because he's the coach's kid, but once he gets out there and pads, he then has to earn that chance with the other players. If he manages to do that, there is no problems in the locker room, none whatsoever. And I think at that point, if he makes a roster spot, sweet. Okay, cool. Because then he deserves to be there. If he doesn't make a roster spot, okay, sweet. Good luck, brother. You got your shot. See you on the flip side. So
Yeah.
at least, I mean, I guess at that point, looking at it and discussing it, I'm okay with it. I would have never opened this door just due to age, just due to the other stuff that I've named. So I wouldn't have done that. But now that it's open, go on, Urban. Bring him on in. Let's see what he's got. But better make sure of this. If you give him a roster spot for the starting season, make sure he earns it. Make sure he earns it in the eyes of the other players on that field.
Yeah, I think that's the key. I mean, like I said, I think that's a good way to phrase it. That you've sort of already opened Pandora's box. You might as well own it at this point. And the proper way to own it is to tell everybody else to shut their mouth, in a polite way. Say, look, I'm the coach here. I make the decisions. I don't get told by other people. I don't get to dictate to the other 31 teams who they can choose to hire. Nobody's dictating to me who I get to choose to hire. And I'm making a decision to bring somebody on who I think might possibly help us. I don't know. None of us know. He's just here to try out, just like all the other 89 other people, or however many
They're bringing into camp.
that they're
Yep.
bringing into camp. And then if he doesn't make it, Tebow can he'll probably have to have some press conference before he gets in, like, or the Jaguars say, hey, he's a backup tight end. He's not going to be available to the press. We don't care. It's Tim Tebow, nip it in the bud right then. And then if he doesn't make it, then you allow him to come out, address the media, say, I
I
thank Urban
no,
for.
I wouldn't even do that. Like I would say, if you guys want to talk to him, Tebow's at home. Because
Okay,
some of
that's
these other
fine
guys
too.
that
Yeah.
get cut, yeah, it's like
Yeah,
just
that's a good point. That's a good point.
just treat him like anybody else. Treat him like any other camp body.
Yeah.
And if he wows you, and if he turns the other guys for him or with him, or if they see like, okay, the coach's kid can play.
Yeah.
I think that changes the narrative in the locker room. And at that point, you can do it's us against the national media because they want to dictate and they think they know what's going on here, but they don't.
Right. Okay. Well, I think we're good on that. So I think we
Yeah,
probably spent longer than we probably should have.
yeah,
We've done what we hate. We become what we hate. We started.
yeah. Well, to be honest with you, there's not a ton coming out of rookie mini camp. So rookie mini camp is our next topic. And really, I listened to some interviews with Urban. I listened to some of the talking heads from around here, and really there isn't a whole lot. They had Trevor Lawrence on a pitch count. They didn't let him take any contact, which I'm completely cool with. I mean, it's a rookie mini camp. So even in OTAs, I don't have a problem with that, and they're working his arm back into football shape. Sounds good to me. The one more popular thing that seems to be out there is ETN, and that they had him working as a receiver during camp. So what are your takes on that? Or actually, what are your takes on ETN and Lawrence?
Well, I've got no issues, like you said, with Lawrence. I almost don't think it's, it's that's just, a blurb. The media has to ask the question about how Lawrence is feeling, and how his recovery is coming along and how that affects it. And so that's that. ETN to me is a different story. I think it was Brian Sexton. I was listening to John Ogier today, and they did the typical company line thing to me where they're
And
saying,
that's why I call them all talking heads.
yeah.
You
And
know, that's who they get paid by.
yeah, uh, you know, I don't want to be negative for negative sake. That's for sure. I freely admit that I didn't like. I think Travis Etienne could be a great player. I hesitate when they start comparing him to Alvin Kamara. Look, Alvin Kamara, where was he drafted? Third, fourth round?
Third rounder out of
Yeah.
Tennessee.
Okay, so that's not Alvin Kamara, right? I mean, okay, so maybe he does become that on the NFL football field, but Alvin Kamara doesn't run primarily out of the wide receiver position. He catches out of the backfield. ETN always caught out of the backfield. So the idea that we're running him, and is it a big deal? No, it's not a big deal. It bothers me because it might emphasize a problem with that being your first round pick. Now I know we drafted Lawrence, but ETN is still a first round pick. And we talked about how, there does seem to be a line of reasoning, and I kind of agree with it, that drafting a running back in the first round isn't the greatest strategy. And then when you draft a guy and you're going to switch positions, I mean, we're one of the criticisms of Tebow, not to bring that back up, but is that he's switching positions. If he couldn't make it at the position he played all his life, how's he going to make it at a different position? And we're taking ETN seemingly, and we're just calling him a wide receiver temporarily. Here's the positive. Maybe this means we're going to see a much more creative offense. That's the way I'm trying to look at it right now. But
I think that has to be our hope. I really do. I mean, I can give you examples of these offensive weapons, I guess, right? On multiple teams, tried by multiple coaches.
Denard
And
Robinson.
Denard Robinson, right? He's an offensive weapon.
Yeah.
Well, the dude wasn't shit, right? No offense to Denard Robinson, but he wasn't an NFL player.
Yeah.
CJ Spiller, right? Also from Clemson, right? They didn't know what to do with him. Well, he's dynamic when he catches the ball. Okay, but he wasn't really good in between the tackles, So it's like what do you do with him, And when Meyer said offensive weapon, dude, my heart dropped. I'm like, man, here we go again, And I get like you don't draft a square peg when you need a round hole. If you wanted a wide receiver, yeah, Tony wasn't there. You lost Tony. Okay, sweet. But there were other players there at positions of need that you could have filled. You chose this guy, and now you have to sit down and make sure you have a dedicated plan for this dude. Yeah, his routes. Make sure you do feed him out of the backfield. Make sure he gets whatever kind of touches he can get. I I do sort of see similarities with Kamara. I will never call him Kamara until he earns it. But when Kamara first got there, they did use him with I'm trying to think of the other back, Deuce Staley. No, that might have been too old.
Well, you went back in time there, buddy.
Yeah, I'm trying to
Mark
think.
Ingram.
Mark Ingram. So Mark Ingram was originally there. They drafted him and they used him as a very effective 1-2 punch. And I think we have a chance to sort of recreate what New Orleans was able to do. Now ETN, I guess admittedly, when he got to Clemson, wasn't a very good catcher out of the backfield because he hadn't ever been asked to do that. So he had to constantly work on that at Clemson to get better at it, and he got better at it. I'm fine with him practicing to be a receiver in the NFL because the NFL, it's a different beast. It's a different game. He's going to need those reps. You know, he's going to have to understand that terminology when real games times comes. I would be okay if they put in a package and every now and again we saw ETN motion out of the backfield to line up in a slot with Robinson still in the backfield. You know, sometimes give it to Robinson, sometimes throw it to Chark, sometimes do your route for ETN. You know, whatever it is that you want to come up with, I'm okay with doing that. So again, to me, it's rookie mini camp, and I would like him to know that stuff. I'd like him to have a little bit more experience with it. And I think rookie training camp is a great time to give it to him. But when Urban Meyer says certain things, I think Denard Robinson, I think CJ Spiller, and I think we just blew a first round draft pick. You know, at least that's what pops into my head almost immediately. And I hate that. But at least they're all positive places where this has worked, like New Orleans.
Yeah, I guess the benefit, I know we talked about this when we discussed the draft picks last time. Talked about the possibility of them using Robinson and ETN on the field at the same time. And we talked about how in the past that, you know, we wish that Maurice Jones-Drew and Fred Taylor, when we had both of them, that we'd have seen a little bit more of that as well. So, you know, when we did discuss our distaste for having drafted ETN, we did say maybe it would be a little bit more palatable if they had ideas of seeing them together on the field, and putting him in wide receiver is a clue to me that they in fact do envision, at least at some time, ETN being flexible enough to be somewhere other than running back, which means that there's going to be another running back on the field with him, you know. So I guess that it can be looked at as a positive, but at this point, yeah, I'm still a little salty over some of the players I would have rather have drafted over ETN at that point. And all this for me really does is put a bunch of exclamation points on my opinion coming out of the draft, but we'll see what happens. It's all we can do.
I agree with you. I completely remain skeptical until I actually see it, until I actually see them use it. You know, we're at that one part where we like some of the draft picks, you know, we dislike other ones, but we truly never know who's going to be the NFL guy. You know, our first rounder can bust. Our sixth rounder all of a sudden shows up, decides, well, look at him. Damn, he's pretty badass. Why was he in the sixth round? So We have to wait on some of this stuff. But yeah, it just scares me when they come out and they say this stuff. They say that he's an offensive weapon and we need to surround Lawrence. Well, if you need to surround him, why not get him a tight end? No offense to Tebow. No offense to Tebow, but why not drafted him a tight, I would love sometimes.
Tebow's an offensive weapon, sir.
Yeah. Well, in that case, he would still be picked on. Another thing I heard is that they didn't invite anybody extra for the rookie camp. So there wasn't your typical offensive line, your defensive line. And then they asked Lawrence basically to just throw a few balls and not to hand the ball off. So they didn't want to take a chance on the running back running into his shoulder. They didn't want to take a chance on him tripping and falling down, So that could be also another reason why ETN did not get any reps, at the running back position or out of the running back position, actually running the football.
Did they have any running backs there?
Well, they had ETN. He was there.
Hmm.
I mean, I don't think we have any other running backs that are rookies that are on our roster.
In all the listening I did, I didn't really hear anybody talk about formation because to me, and I'm wondering, what are they running shotgun all? I mean, they may be because of the fact that one of the things I think they said was they didn't want Lawrence taking a snap either. So maybe maybe that means, he just had the ball in his hand then, right? I mean,
it was tossed to him.
Oh,
so
okay.
it was like sandlot football,
Yeah.
Is really what it was. All right, you're going to run this route. This is what route he's running, or what play we're calling.
Yeah.
Ike, here's the ball, throw it.
Yeah. Not much to talk about, really. We'll wait and see what happens with ETN and see how this translates, I guess, is all we can say.
Yeah. So. And then even to make it worse, there were several draft picks who just were not on the field. So.
Oh, really? I didn't hear that.
Yeah. Like Cisco is still recovering from his.
Right. Yeah.
Also, I think the defensive tackle we got out of Ohio State, I don't think he was around. I'm not 100% sure why. And maybe he was there and just didn't participate.
I heard Walker Little, they were talking about him saying that he looks the part, they were very impressed in person with him. And they said that when he hit the bag, doing the practice and the offensive line punch, that you could hear it from far away, that he's that powerful, which I don't know, are they looking for it? I don't, I don't know. I mean, in comparison, was nobody else hitting the bag. I mean, I have questions like that. So, but yeah. I'd rather hear positives, I guess. But of course, we know this time of year, that's all they're going to do is feed us positive stuff.
Yeah, man. And that's one of my problems with the local media. I just wish that they would, if something bad happens or if somebody's looking off, say it.
It'd be interesting. I'd be interested in anybody who listens to this podcast, if they have, if they're from another market or something. I'd love to find out if other teams do this, because do you have other teams that sort of just other media where they tear their team apart and constantly critical, or are they all sort of singing their praises like ours do? Much of CYA,
I believe I know for a fact that they do. I'm not going to cite why I know it, but I'll tell you that I'm married to her and she lives in the home. And I think that they are extremely critical.
Okay.
Of their team. So yeah, if your team, if you guys have people in your marketplace that are critical of your team, let us know. I mean, because I think that's what we need. I mean, it would be nice. We don't have to go after them with a chainsaw, but it would be nice if somebody came out of training camp and said, well, Blake Bortles cannot throw the football.
Well, right? They're saying it now.
Yeah, but that's not me.
That's all. Right? That's what they do. They wait until they're off the team, and then they go, "Yeah, we saw it." It's
right.
Like, wait, isn't your job to give us this information?
And that's my issue. That's completely been my issue. It's like I go to training camp, like I've been going once a year, I think since, damn, I don't know how long I've been going. I try to get out there, try to have my book, my drink, sit out there and just watch camp and see what I can see, take in what I can take in. And yeah, there are some times I've come away from camp, just one practice or two, thinking, what in the hell? Like this dude? And then I'll get in the car and I'll leave and I'll hear the talking heads talking about the practice. And they're like, it's great, blah, blah, blah. We're gonna win. And it's like, really? Like what are you watching? Yeah. So yeah, I gave up on the local media and the talking heads, and I sort of get it. I guess if they talk shit about the Jags, they may not be allowed in the locker room. So that's their golden goose. Why would they mess it up?
Well,
I always
I think
thought they could just
some of the sports news media does it. Will go after them from time to time, but it just seems like those with like Jaguars.com or what have you. The
Yeah,
ones.
see, national media will sometimes report that stuff. And it's rare too. But they will sometimes report it. But our local media, no way. No way. There isn't they should have a guy out there who just goes out there to look for negative stuff. Just be like, look, we need that opposite voice to say, and then probably somewhere in the middle between the positive guy and the negative guy is what you're going to end up with. All right. So anything else on rookie minicamp?
No, we've covered that. I mean, there's nothing to cover, is there? ETN, that's it.
Yeah, that's about all it was. Nobody got hurt. That's positive. I'll take that. Right? No Dante Fowlers. Woo.
Yeah, that's
all
good.
Positive.
Yeah,
all
I don't
positive.
know if that's a sign for what's to come, but we'll take it.
Yeah. So I was riding to this furniture store this afternoon, and I heard some people on the local radio discussing. It was a quick blurb about the schedule and about the Vegas odds that have come out. So essentially, Vegas only has us. So Vegas has us at 6.5 games to win, right? But they only have us favored in 2 of those games and even in 1. And that's it. Can you name me the team that we're favored against?
Well, I'm pretty sure it's going to be the first game of the year against the Texans.
It sure is. We are favored to win both games against Houston. So we start off with Houston, and we're favored by 2.5. The over/under is 45 or 45.5. 2.5 probably isn't all that bad for Jags. I might have to put some money on Vegas on that line there.
Yeah, but I mean, how can you complain about the rest of it if you're saying that? Because you gotta understand where Houston is, man. That franchise is in some severe disarray at this point. And if Deshaun Watson has any chance of coming back, it's definitely not going to be at the beginning of the season. So the fact that we're only 2.5 coming off an off season in which we're sort of on the up, we're coming off of a high to a certain extent. They're on a low. I don't know. It's just, I'm not, if they start off with just having us 2.5, honestly, we should be more like 3.5, 4.5.
Yeah, I was thinking somewhere around 4, like a little over a field goal.
Yeah, the fact that we're less than a field goal better.
Yeah,
I mean, to me, they're putting us down kind of low. Sounds like.
Yeah. I mean, now granted, we were 1-15. I acknowledge that. We got killed quite a bit last year, but we actually did. I think there were 5 games where we lost by 4 or fewer points. Maybe that was trash time. I don't know. I didn't go back and look. I was too busy crying in my beer. All right. So next up, week 2, we got Denver Broncos.
That's a lie. At a certain point, we were all rooting to keep losing.
Well, yeah. I mean, I was definitely rooting to lose after probably about week 5. But week 2, we got Denver Broncos. you don't think we can beat the Broncos?
The Broncos are an interesting team because they've done a lot of good things in the past few off seasons, and the biggest problem that they have is quarterback. And let me just say this. I mean, the rumor is
Tebow.
that Tim Tebow could be back. No, but I mean, obviously the rumor, I mean, just imagine the complexion. So if you took the line now and Aaron Rodgers then goes to the Broncos, you know, that's a,
Yeah. See, so right now they don't give me the line. They only gave me the opening line for the first one. But I have, if I was a bettor from Vegas, to me that would also be almost a pick 'em game.
I'm not familiar with that one. Is that a home game or an away game?
They're here.
Yeah, that would, yeah, I could see that. If you, as is, that's a tough one for me to necessarily. I'd really like to see the line on that one because they better not be favored by much over us if we're at home.
Yeah, no, I don't have. They just gave me the opening week line. Hold on, let me see if I can see. Let me go to another site here and see if they might have different odds.
Well, I mean, if they maybe I wonder if they have some insider because Vegas sometimes they got those insiders. I wonder if they know if that's the place where Rodgers is going to end up. And it seems to me they didn't do anything at quarterback, and they desperately need a quarterback. So they've got to have some sort of irons in the fire somehow, some way. I don't know what it could be, but it got to
Yeah,
be
so
something.
it's the exact same line that we have against Houston, but now we're on the losing end. It's 2.5 at the moment.
Yeah. I mean, what are you going to do? We're 1-15. So,
Like I get that, but we're the home team, and I think our rosters at the bare minimum match up fairly close with Denver. So 2.5, I guess I can't complain. Yeah, I was just calling it a pick'em game.
yeah, no, you know what? Now that I think about that, I don't like that at all, actually, because we're at home. We have Trevor Lawrence, and heck, I can't even remember who their quarterback's name is. But he ain't Trevor Lawrence, so the quarterback's got to mean something, So home and the quarterback, and we're the underdog. That doesn't. But I mean,
Yeah, I
it's
mean
this
we
is
don't.
the betting line, so you got to take that
Yeah, I
for
mean
what it is.
and that's what I'm saying. Like it used to be when teams were about even, the home team would get like 3 points. And now and I get it. We've lost. I don't think we've covered in quite a while.
Yeah, and I think also,
Know we've been a bad bet.
it has to do too, not just what Vegas thinks is going to happen, but also what they're trying to get people to bet. They may be wanting to get people to bet, take the Jags on the line on that because, the truth is that the Jaguar fan base isn't huge to start with. So you don't have that built in group of numbers to sort of throw money on that book. And so maybe you have to coax some other people into it a little bit. Some people who think they're wise guys and paid attention in the off season to throw some money on the Jags at home and try to get some
I personally,
movement.
if it's Drew Lock, I take the Jags all day at 2.5. If it's Aaron Rodgers, no
I
way.
yeah, no way. But I mean, yeah, yeah, no, I wouldn't. But yeah, if it's what'd you say, Drew Lock?
Yeah.
I don't know why that name isn't locking in my brain there, but yeah. So who you got, man? Rattle off some stuff.
So the next one up is the Bengals.
Joe Burrow's back. a nice
Oh wait, I'm sorry. No, I skipped one. I'm sorry. It's Arizona.
Arizona, Kyler
Did you?
Murray, and are we going out there?
It's
Here,
here. Yeah,
here.
we get them here.
Arizona's got a heck of a defense on paper.
Yeah.
I
No,
didn't
I
follow
think
them
I go
last year.
with
I don't know how they played.
I think I go with Arizona on this one. I really do.
Yeah.
I think we might have the better running backs, you know,
Well, yeah,
but
right.
that's about it. I mean, maybe we got the better receivers and maybe they're close, but I think they probably got better tight ends. I think the receivers are close enough that it could be split. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know that I wouldn't go with the Cardinals in this one.
No, they got the receivers too. I mean,
They got Fitzgerald. I'm trying to think. Did they get anybody else?
yeah, and I can't remember his name, the Texans receiver.
Oh, DeAndre Hopkins.
Andre
Yeah,
Hopkins, man. How did we
DeAndre
forget?
Hopkins.
No, he puts them over.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay. All right. So I would go with the Cardinals again. I don't have the line.
What do you talk? Hey, we're gonna put Tyson Campbell on him. Shut him down.
Well, we'll see. That dude's
CJ,
got to earn his.
get
He's
on the
got
other
to earn.
side.
Got to earn his money somehow. All right. So next one up, and this one scares me, and it doesn't really scare me because of the opponent. It is a Thursday night game. It is an away game, and we are playing the Bengals. So this is Burrow versus Lawrence 2.0. What you got? What you think?
I like that. I think that's a good matchup. I like the Thursday night. Who knows what'll happen, whether we'll win or not. Um,
Man,
Cincinnati's not a barn burner by any stretch, and it would be. I just like the idea of seeing Burrows via Lawrence again. I like that.
getting in the pros. Yeah,
Yeah, I want to see that
I want to
match.
watch it, but no way am I betting this. Just simply because we've been horrid on Thursday night. It's like we have our worst
We're not playing the
game.
Titans this time, though. That's another thing.
Hey,
And the
we played
stupid
Miami
powder
last year.
blue.
Miami came in here and spanked us,
Yeah.
just rode us right on out of our own stadium.
I went on vacation during that time, so I that doesn't lock
It
into
was
my
good.
brain. I didn't
It was
watch it.
good, but and the when the world watches,
Yeah.
we shit ourselves.
And,
I mean,
well, and another reason why Vegas isn't going to be too kind to us because again, when the eyes turn to us, we look like a 1-15 team. We look like an 0-16 team.
Yeah, we look like Pop Warner. All
Yeah.
right, so that's that game, and
It's
then
magic got busted out on us.
yep. Then we return home and we get the vaunted Titans. Titans at home.
Pass.
I would pass too, but you know.
Oh man, I just hate the Titans, dude.
I don't know. Unless they can corral Derrick Henry and actually put some pressure back there, we don't have a chance.
There's so many unknowns. That's the problem. And you don't know what's going to happen on defense. Our defense was so abysmal last year. And honestly, I think it should have been worse the way teams played us. I think they took the gas off a lot of times because I think our defense was just a joke, a complete joke last year.
Maybe word got out we were tanking for Lawrence and we wouldn't put up a fight. I mean, I don't know. Yeah, I mean, because teams could have rolled us a lot more than what they did, and it really wasn't for the defense stopping us. So,
yeah,
I don't know. It's weird. Sometimes we can shut down Henry. Other times he trucks us for 200 and something yards. You just never know what you're going to get there. I would definitely stay away from that one, and I would definitely probably right now put an L in the column. I mean, that's a loss.
I mean, if you take your heart out of it, there's no reason to put the Jaguars over the Titans. The Titans should be the team that wins our division.
Yeah.
And unless I like the trajectory that we have going, but it takes time. That's the thing. And I think we can catch the Titans, but I'd be happy. It'd be reasonable to expect us to be competitive toward the end of this year. In other words, we might not. We might not. Uh, I want us to look like we're closing in to possibly compete for the tie for this division.
Right. So you
This is
want to
not a
see if
great division.
get better.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So I'm going to try to speed through these just a little bit faster. So next up, we have the London game, which we will be playing the Dolphins. Now, this is
Yeah.
9:30 in the morning here. So I think we'll have the doghouse open with breakfast staples.
All right. Sounds good. So that one there, yeah. I mean, it's that'll be an interesting game. The Dolphins are definitely on the uptick.
Yep.
We're gonna really get it. We probably have a better idea about what we're looking at with Tua. I'm not a believer in the people who aren't a believer in him. I mean, I'm not a believer in him, but I'm not counting him out either. I guess is a better way to say it. I watch that guy play football. I think he I mean he didn't have as bad a year last year as people are making it out to be, at least statistically. I didn't watch him, so I don't know, but I have a hard time thinking that the nail's in the coffin on that guy. So who knows what you're going to get.
I think potentially it can be a winnable game. There's nothing about Miami that scares me.
Well, the London factor helps us.
We actually do not show bad in London.
Although we got a new regime. It's new for them.
Yeah.
So maybe that goes away.
Yeah. Okay. Week 7 is a bye, so that's an automatic win for us. Right. So then we traveled to Seattle. It's 4 o'clock. It's the only. Yeah, it's a 4 o'clock game.
Yeah.
So and last time we got.
I would just hope to compete in that one. I mean, just hope it's not a blowout.
Clean.
Yeah.
The following week we return home to face the vaunted mighty Buffalo Bills.
Yeah.
I'm picking Buffalo. I would pick Buffalo to win this game if I had to put money on it.
Yeah, I would too. I mean, how do you stop Josh Allen if your defense is atrocious? And we don't know that it will be, but we don't know what it's going to look like. So there's no way to, he's got all the tools physically. So it's very difficult to imagine.
The problem here is that you have to keep him in the pocket. You have to lock down Diggs and you have to lock down Beasley. I'm not scared of their running backs. I don't think their running game is very good at all. Yeah. So I'm not scared of them, but doing those 3 tasks constantly and consistently, I don't think we can do.
Right.
All right. So it's week 9, week 10. We go to Indianapolis. Now this is later in the year.
Yeah.
This is where I'm hoping to start to see if Lawrence is having hiccups, if he's not playing very well at times. This is where I like to see some maturity out of him.
Yeah. And it's Carson Wentz. I kind of expect him to rebound, honestly, man. I think Indy might be a team to look out for, because I don't think they're a terrible team, and I think Reich is a good coach.
Yeah.
And
they did well in Philly together.
Yeah. So I mean,
I tend to agree with you on Carson Wentz. Philadelphia last year was a damn train wreck, and it started with the top down.
Yeah.
Yeah. Did Wentz help? No, he didn't help. But did his offensive line? No. So there were some issues there, and I think Philly's going to be, or not Philly. I think Indianapolis is going to be good. The thing here is that we generally always split with the Colts. So I think that tradition can continue.
Yeah.
So I don't know if it's this one. I don't know if it's when we have them at home. But either one of those, whether I give this one a win or
which week are we on?
We are in week 10.
Okay.
All right. So that's the Colts. Next up, week 11, we are home against San Francisco.
Loss.
You think it's a loss now with Jimmy G or with
doesn't matter.
Really?
San Francisco's on the upswing. I mean, I guess if Trey Lance is in there, yeah, it does matter. I'll take that back. Trey Lance goes in there, then yeah, okay. No, I'll want to
I
see
see a lot of good stuff I
a
really
win.
like out of San Francisco.
I just
But
don't expect Trey Lance. I guess that's the deal. I don't expect Trey Lance to. I look at Shanahan and I think he's doing what Andy Reid did with Mahomes and what Buffalo tried to do with Allen. This guy, he's taking him under his wing. He thinks he's this genius and he's going to impart all his geniusness into this guy during this season. And then he's going to foist it out onto the NFL next year or
right.
toward the end of this year or coming up.
Yeah,
So
I mean,
maybe it happens, but
to me that can be a pick 'em game. San Francisco has a lot of speed, both on offense and defense, but man, they're hurt all the time, and we're talking about week 11.
it's just
So,
difficult to pick these games when our defense, like I said, the taste in my mouth, it has nothing to do with Lawrence, but you could imagine, I imagine Lawrence having a great statistical year, but still us winning 5 or 6 games. I mean,
and that's completely possible.
yeah, it's just a
You know,
difficult scenario. He's
San Francisco is better than us. If I have to take my heart out of it, I'll say San Francisco is better than us. Okay, so then week 12, we are home versus Atlanta. So we get to see Kyle Pitts. That might be a game to go to right there. I'd like to see Kyle Pitts play.
you go to a game to see a tight end play.
Yep.
Um,
Yeah.
yeah, no, we should win that game.
And that game, at least from what I heard this afternoon, that's the even game. That's the pick 'em
Okay,
game.
all right.
Yeah, and that sort of makes sense. Atlanta was horrible on defense.
Yeah, and
Their
they got a year. We're in the same scenario, so
their offense can be crazy badass though.
yeah.
Their running game, I don't think. No, they got Todd Gurley. Okay, yeah, their running game. Atlanta's offense is if our defense is sucking to the point to where we can't control San Francisco, I don't think we can control Atlanta. So week 13, we travel across to the great state of California. I wish it would fall off the map. And we play the Rams.
It's a loss.
Yeah, I think so too. I think Matt Stafford, I'm sorry, makes them a little bit better.
No, Matt Stafford's legit, but I mean, and there's no telling. It's an interesting storyline to see how that move shakes out.
Chemistry, yeah.
Yeah, because it makes you wonder. He's such a talent, and you wonder. There's always this idea about, is it the quarterback that makes the franchise, or is there something to do with the franchise making the quarterback? I tend to think that it can work both ways. And in this case, McVay is, I really like McVay's offensive.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the idea that you get a weapon like that or an arm like that, who knows how that's going to work out? I tell you what, if it doesn't work out, then that to me, it's on Stafford. Then maybe he's just not a gamer. There's something about him. He just lacks it, whatever it is. I don't know.
Yeah, I do like Sean McVay. I do like his schemes that he comes up with. I do think that Stafford may actually make them a better team. Yes, he's older, but I mean the dude's a gunslinger and he's pretty good at it, or at least he appears to be pretty good at it.
He's got one of the best arms in the league still, I
Yeah,
think.
so
I mean,
I definitely would take the Rams over us. So that wraps up week 13. Week 14, we travel to Tennessee.
yeah, I mean, this would be a game where I'd be definitely interested in, and I'd love to say we'd win it. Um, it seems strange that I just didn't want to talk about Tennessee, and I guess I'm warming up to the idea. I just feel like at this point in the season is when other teams should begin to worry about us. Like we should be rounding into a team that people can't just
brush
Think of
aside.
it's not the
Yeah.
Jaguars, it's not your same old Jaguars. I'm hoping
Well,
that's
we
the
hope that's
case.
what they ended up with, but at this point, and given our track record, I'd still give them a loss, just to play it safe. All right,
And
so
in
the
his
very
Tennessee.
next week, then we get Houston at home.
Yeah, that's definitely a win right
Maybe
there,
go
man.
there just to squirt
Even if
Deshaun Watson with
it
some
doesn't
baby oil.
matter, it doesn't matter. That team's got such dysfunction they've got to get themselves out of. Yeah. No, we should be on the uptick strong at that point. And it's going to take a couple years for them to work themselves out. So I'm
Yeah,
I'd
I
lock that
concur.
one in.
I don't know exactly what's going on there, but
The roster's atrocious. I mean, the whole
it's a
thing
dumpster
just,
fire. Yeah, it's a
yeah.
dumpster fire. All right, then week 16. And I don't understand why the NFL did not put that in prime time, but I'm glad you didn't because we suck. At the Meadowlands, the New York Jets. Or wait, I don't even know if they play in the Meadowlands anymore. They may play at that combined stadium or whatever.
Jersey
Yes,
somewhere. I don't know.
the Jets. So
Um,
1v2.
yeah. So we get to see that
And
amazing
it's
Zach
late.
Wilson show, right?
Yes, and it's late in the year.
So mark me down for the Jags, please.
Yeah, I'm going to take the Jags too, just because I think we have a better running game, and I'm hoping we'll have a better defense. I think we did last year, even though our defense was atrocious,
Yeah.
and so was theirs. You know, I
I,
think
I'm
our line may be close.
I'm not going to say Zach Wilson's going to suck or anything to that point, but I'm not going to sit there and go. The same thing I said about ETN when people want to compare him to Kamara, they want to compare Zach Wilson to Aaron Rodgers or Mahomes. Stop.
Yeah,
Stop. The guy
yeah,
played it.
they haven't earned it. Yep.
Yeah. And I don't care. It doesn't matter that he can have his footwork in the wrong position and still throw a laser. Get your footwork right then, I mean, okay, are you going to try no look passes? Good. I hope he does. I hope he listens to people and that are saying that he's the next Mahomes and tries a no look pass when we play him. So that sort of stuff there. Yeah, he could be great. I mean, I don't know, but I'm definitely not calling it to say that he's going to stink. But yeah, so anyway, I definitely like our odds in that one. Although I am interested to see how Robert Saleh does as a head coach.
As a head coach, yeah, me too, me too. But I think I would definitely give us the W in that category. So then week 17, we are at New England.
Yeah, that's never a good place to be.
Yeah,
But I
don't
like
think
it.
so, man. Brady isn't there.
I like it though
He's
because
up against the ropes.
I like it for the fact that that's a really nice way for Lawrence to get. It's a baptism by fire to a nightcap, whatever you want to call it, for the end of his season because Belichick is a defensive genius. So, we're going to see how he's developed his mind and his vision for the game at that point. Honestly, though, if you think about it, you're still talking about a rookie and he's going against Belichick. It's probably not in our favor.
Yeah, I mean, I can see both of those. And again, you're right. I want to say that we can because their defense wasn't great. It was better than ours, but wasn't great. They don't have any receivers. Their quarterbacks are still in flux. I mean, with the way Cam Newton is, I'm not sure if I say, well, give me Cam Newton over Mac Jones.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. I don't know if who I would rather see there.
Yeah, so I mean, and hopefully, if Lawrence is developing, hopefully the way that we believe, as long as we have somewhat of a decent D, not just a complete mediocre one, I think we can stand in that game. I'll say that I think we can stand in that game.
No, I expect us to. No, for sure. Yeah, that should get down to the wire. But
and then we
I wouldn't be surprised if Belichick suckers Lawrence into some turnover or something, that causes a seal.
Bates them.
Yeah, he baits them.
Yeah. Well, then we finished the season off week 18, January 9th versus the Colts. So we got the Colts here. 1 o'clock. Like I said, we usually split with the Colts. And I will tell you, I think this. I think that if Lawrence is progressing and say we are at 5 wins coming into this game here, I think Jacksonville shows up.
Yeah.
I think Jacksonville and Lawrence show up. And I think this might be the one that we can take from Indianapolis. This would be our split game.
I'll go with you on that. Yeah. So that puts us at what, 5, 6 games?
I think it puts us at around
6.
Yeah, I think it's right at 6. I think it's 4 we could win, and then 2 that are really kind of close.
Yeah.
You know, because I think we can beat the Jets. I think we can beat Atlanta, although I think Atlanta's a tougher game than people are believing, but their defense is horrid too. You know, and then we got the 2 Texans games. You know, I'm not calling those gimme games because it's the NFL and there's no such thing as a gimme game. But I think we're at the moment a better sound franchise, you know, than they are at the moment. So I think so. I think those are 4 games. I think we might be able to snatch one like that New England game, the Denver game, you know, that other Colts game, you know, right there, there's 7, you know. So we could lose one of the other ones, but we can win one of those. So.
Well, that's a completely reasonable way to look at it. I mean, you can't expect too much out of a 1-15 football team. Again, I with this caveat, as bad as our defense was last year, I would say you could possibly see some marked improvement because of the fact that we did deal with a lot of injuries. Not only were we a completely we didn't have a lot of depth, let's put it that way,
Yeah.
to start off with, and then we lost our key positions. So we were trotting out a lot of people that just, you know, they're you know how defense is, man. You cannot when you get into a situation where other people start breaking down, everybody starts scrambling, it just becomes a nightmare. And I think that's what ended up happening to us last year. But there's no more lose for Lawrence going on. So, hey, there's no reason why you can't get some momentum. And I mean, right now, what I'm holding on to is, and I'm not a believer in herbs necessarily, but a lot of other people are, and I'm enjoying that fact. So I'm hoping that people, if the locker room buys in, you know, if they
That's right.
believe
You
they
heard
can,
it here. Urban
and
Meyer, show us the money. Go.
yeah, get our squad in position. Let them, I mean, play fast, think fast, all that stuff you talk about. Yeah, let's see it. I want to see it because we're tired of seeing what we've been
Dumpster
seeing.
fire. Yeah, we're tired of seeing the dumpster fire that has been the Jacksonville Jaguars through what? 5 coaches, 6 coaches, and 4 GMs, 3 GMs, something
That's the
like that.
past. That's the past. Let's
I know.
new era, man. Let's move on.
All right. Well, that about wraps us up for the night. Want to thank you guys for listening. So I'm going to leave you with one more.
Ooh, man, that was
Goodbye,
terrible.
guys.
We got to coordinate that, man.
Yeah, it wasn't so bad. Shut it down. Shut down the recording.